Hey team, I had to mute my microphone, my speaker again, to just pop in and tell you what I'm doing. I am still at the IBEA, Illinois Business Educators Association Fall 2020 Conference. But right now I'm in session 1. And as I shared with you in our team's chat, I actually chose the entrepreneurship strand. So for those of you who are following along with the agenda that I shared with you earlier, the topic or the session that I'm in right now is activating the entrepreneurial mindset of K-12 students for post-secondary success. Hold on, Burey, what are you saying? This is fantastic. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. You may or may not know that as of this year, I have a 21-year-old business. It's called Simply Music. And that business actually started when I had first graduated college and I had wanted to be a famous singer-songwriter. I ended up moving to New York where I was inspired to start the business. Then I lived in Cincinnati, Ohio, as well as Cleveland, Ohio for a while. And in Cincinnati, at that point, I co-founded a recording company, a recording studio. I had artists come into my studio that my partner at the time and I had. We also traveled and toured. I'll tell you all about it another time. But at this session here, they're talking about how we can use students from kindergarten all the way up to grade 12, K-12, and focusing on the high school student secondary education experience as being entrepreneurs. I got to pause, scholars, because out of the 166 students I currently have for semester 1, about 1/4 of them, about 25% of them, want to be entrepreneurs. So for example, I'm thinking of Malik, who has shared before with me that he wants to have a business where he is not only in the transportation industry by driving long haul cross country, but he also wants to fuse that with the entertainment industry too. I also talked to another student who is looking to bridge their love of jewelry and their love of the automobile industry, specifically with engineering. I have many students who want to launch their YouTube channels and become more famous and successful with that, so social media gurus. And I just have a lot of talented, beautiful black and brown students. With that being said, I thought that this was going to be a fantastic session, and I'm more than pleased. Let me tell you who's leading this one. And again, I can't show you too much of my screen because that's their intellectual property. That's their knowledge and information. But I'm listening right now to Dr. Scott Nassiter, and he has co-founded NIFTY. NIFTY is also known as Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship. NIFTY. NFTE. And we're also looking at Jason Delgado. He's the Vice President of Curriculum and Research. So Mr. Delgado actually helps write the prescription, if you will, on how we should teach entrepreneurship better in class. With that being said, Scott and Jason, they're both experts in the field of teaching entrepreneurship for students. One of the things that I want to share with you so far about NIFTY, I want to make sure, yes, is that they build startup skills or startup entrepreneurship skills in youth and their demographics. So the ranking of populations that they're working with include Latino students, Black students, white students, Asian students, Native American students, and students who also identify as other ethnicities. They work within these communities across 3 regions. So the regions include ours, the Midwest region, as well as the West Coast region and the East Coast region. So we're right in the middle. What their research is showing so far, guys, is that the population, so the number of students or the types of students who study entrepreneurship more frequently are usually juniors and seniors, historically 11th and 12th graders, followed by 9th graders and 10th graders or freshmen and sophomores. And believe it or not, the data is showing, the information, the statistics, the math, the data is showing that middle school learners are also benefiting from studying entrepreneurship. That's very sound and reasonable to me. I can't remember one of the first businesses I started when I was younger. I was about 11 years old, so sixth grade, right in that middle school area. For me, I lived in University Park, Illinois at the time, and I've told you before, I'm the oldest of 6 kids. So unfortunately, my habit was I had to hustle and grind and get money any way that I could. So this was around 1988, before we had Sam's Club, Costco, or membership stores. Back then we had Cub Foods, C-U-B, Cub Foods, and they sold things in bulk. So coming from such a large family, you know my parents tend to buy things in bulk. And one of the things that I found that was successful for me, but I'm sorry, Mom and Dad, and my siblings, is that when they would buy candy bars in bulk, for example, I would take some without permission, take it to school and sell it. I was selling candy. I was an entrepreneur. Then the guilt in me and the ethics in me found out this is not okay. Do not steal from family, make a profit, and don't bring the profit home to the family. I had to learn that the hard way. So then I end up changing my entrepreneurship endeavor, or changing my business. And then I was a jewelry maker. In the late 80s, friendship bracelets were all the rage. So I had purchased yarn and I was selling friendship bracelets. I also sold copper jewelry. Back then, in that community, it was not ethnically balanced. So I had a small customer base, but I still tried it. Being the eldest, you know that in our business tech and concepts class, we've talked about how age order impacts our personality. Being the eldest, things that I had around the house that I no longer wanted anymore, I would have sales to my younger siblings. And for the low price of whatever money they had saved up, I would sell them my used goods and services. This was pre-Etsy, pre-eBay. I always wanted to have my own business and sell. That is one of the other reasons why I thought it was important to attend this conference here. Let me go back. With the data and with my own personal experience, I want you students to know that it is not too early to start your own entrepreneurship endeavor or to start your own business. Going more with what I've learned, and I've taken notes, so excuse me for referring to them. The youth entrepreneur can and has been measured at about 15,000 different students nationwide. That tells you and me, scholars, that if you are of the mind that you cannot be an entrepreneur, pish tosh, not true. There are over 15,000 young-minded entrepreneurs currently. The way that we measure the entrepreneurial mindset, specifically through the NIFTY model, is that they look at agreement scales, also known as Likert scales, L-I-C-K-E-R-T, Likert scales, if you agree or disagree with conversations or with topics. They also look at situational judgment test. So if you were in a situation of what would you do? A what would you do scenario, as well as attitudinal questions. What is your attitude about, for example, working on your own, working long hours, starting a business from scratch? Looking at those 3 aspects on how to study or how to define if you are a youth entrepreneur, agreement scales, if you agree or disagree with different scenarios, situational judgment tests. What would you judge? How would you do based on different situations, as well as your attitude about things? These aren't crazy questions. These are things that we do all the time. You too can be an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs also look at what problems exist, and then they research, create, and then find solutions. Really, they sell those solutions, and you can too. If we're looking at teaching entrepreneurship as a problem, then to create that problem, to extrapolate it, to expand it, to make it bigger, to dig down deeper into what the problem is, then the problem is that the future of work is entrepreneurial based. So look at this. It is projected for the next 5 years that at least 50% of the workforce are going to be freelancers as well as independent contractors. That's a vocabulary word we have not yet got to, but independent contractors. You have your own business, but you are partnering with a bigger business. With that being said, if you classify yourself as an entrepreneur or a freelancer or independent contractor, do you know that you are eligible then to make your own payday? You can set your own prices. Many times then your pay or your salary, your amount of money for the year is 6 figures and up to unlimited. It depends on what problem there is and how you as an entrepreneur has found a solution to sell. Other things that I'm learning and experiencing here at the conference is that there are new skill sets for workplace success. I actually did take a screenshot of that, and I just want to read a few of them to you all. The new skill sets for workplace success. The top 3, complex problem solving. Can you multitask to solve problems? Of course you can. Most of my scholars multitask by being on social media and paying attention and doodling at the same time. You can multitask, so you can also multitask by solving complex problems. The second workplace skill for success is going to be critical thinking. You know that SAT test that we do many times a year? That's just practicing your critical thinking skills, scholars. Can you think outside the box? You may not have seen this problem before, but can you apply what you know already, your innate knowledge, your experience that you had learned thus far, and solve a problem or attempt to solve it? That's critical thinking. That's a skill we need to be an entrepreneur. And also the third top skill for success is creativity. Are you more of a consumer and use media, or do you create content? Creativity is one of the top 3 skills entrepreneurs need. I know most all of my scholars who I work with are highly creative. You, my friend, have most of the keys already to become a great entrepreneur. Another thing that this session was talking to us about is what is included in the entrepreneurial mindset. The top 3 things for the entrepreneurial mindset are: do you have social emotional learning? Can you get along with others? Do you know yourself enough to not have your feelings or emotions spill out and taint what's going on, the environment around you? For example, if I'm angry and want to smash things all around, am I going to let that spill over into my team or my workplace? Probably not. This is part of social emotional learning. Another one is the growth mindset. Are you one of the people who feel you can't learn something new, or if it doesn't come easily, you just have to give it up? If not, you have the growth mindset. And also, we are looking at, are you malleable? M-A-L-L-E-A-B-L-E, malleable. Are you flexible? Can you bend and not break? Can you go with the flow? This is another skill of the entrepreneur. If these 3 aspects are you, you're probably an entrepreneur. We're also learning about student outcomes. And in this particular session, the student outcomes we are looking at include being able to communicate, either through writing, through verbal words, or through interpersonal communication, getting along with other people and being an active, engaged listener instead of just someone who hears what the other person is saying and not engage. Also, we're looking at, are you a great collaborator? You remember when we were younger watching Sesame Street, did you get along and cooperate with others? Now we just changed that vocabulary word to collaborate and work together. We're also looking at opportunity recognition. Do you see a problem exist and just want to accept it? Or are you more of a go-getter and want to solve problems? Do you see opportunities? Do you recognize opportunities? And when we talk about opportunities, we are referring to things that you see may be wrong or can be fixed and improved, and you take the initiative without anyone telling you to make a change. That is also an outcome for entrepreneurship. The last thing that I want to share you, because then I got to get back to learning, is that we're looking at how entrepreneur is taught in schools. Nifty is providing a solution to change how entrepreneurship is taught in schools by offering project-based learning, something our district is doing already, as well as providing a Shark Tank style end of year event or end of year final project. Again, I got to get back to learning because I want to bring these fresh ideas to you all and implement them in class. But I just wanted to take a moment to talk to you about Nifty. And again, Nifty stands for the Network for Teaching Entrepreneurship. And if this particular reaction video responded to you or resonated with you, bring it up in class, like below, comment below, or subscribe. I'll see you later. Bye, team.